We know about our own existence and agency, goodwill, intentions, our volition, actions, utility and consequences, and values, virtue, ethics and qualities. That's ethical and ethics, meaning knowing about what actions and decisions are needed now to be within our considered values. Unethical is bullying and bystanding. A bystander is meaning a stance and standing by or besides the hurtful intended behaviors without actively stopping it, or without standing for what we value. It's not responsive. Responsive means to promise again, a regressive assertion a person or thing speaks taking place in the future to act a specific thing. It's more about bad faith or fitting in. Bullying and bystanding is an avoidance of conflict, entitlement to comfort, which is, I deserve this, just because I want it, either or thinking, perfectionism, objectivism, the view that progress is more and etc. Neutral isn't non-judgmental, isn't building trust, and isn't leadership. Remaining neutral, or worse intending harm, is the failure of helping the harmed or continuing that of which is harmful or a detriment towards the harmed. The minority is the harmed, in the case of politics and society. The governing body, now in power in the U.S., is a consequence of active participation and bystanding of the white supremacist culture. It's not kind and or honest to say it's deconstructing the white supremacy culture in society. It's literally the outcome of it. The governing body is now called and known as an oligarchy and or authoritarianism. It hurts everyone, not only the minority. As a minority, myself, I stand for a need to be democratically considered. I use the 4 pillars, presented, freedom, justice, and equity. What I am not is, what I'm supposed to be, should be, could be, would be, dehumanized, objectified, stereotyped, inequitable treatment, compared, criticized, shamed, blamed, expected to be or assumed to be. I need to be who I am, I belong to me. I'm me and I have needs. I'm a person with an identity. I'm authentic. I am the one who knows me entirely. I'm with me my whole life. I know I'm worthy. I know I exist and I know I'm meaningful. I'm grateful for the fortune I have, but I recognize my boundaries that I'm a minority. I'm not the model minority. The myth of meritocracy and denial is a part of the problem, avoidance of the conflict. It isn't the minority to be accountable or sensible for the solutions, decisions and especially the problems of the majority. The projections, scapegoating and fallacies placed on them are ways of oppression. This leads towards control, isolation, manipulation, and cult-like views. These views are anything but what's needed to be accepting, inclusive, diverse, empathetic and to connect. We will not be the solution or answers to the majority's problems and insecurities. We are all imperfect, we are all not complete. That's the subjective experience of becoming who we are in the freedom of personhood. Every person is imperfect, not complete. It connects us all and frees us from being totally isolated. We are always becoming, evolving, and unfinished. All in this together and part of the whole. Everyone has a role, strengths, offering and being part of the holistic decision-making, or problem-solving. Together we can achieve emergence from the system using cooperation to create something new, evoke mindfulness and thoughtfulness. It's not considerate, asking the suffering minority what the majority needs to say or behave to be compassionate. It's crucial being empathetic, actively listening, acknowledging, and believing what is happening to the minority. Needs are not compromised. When hurt or needing empowering, thoughtfully evoke one's own behaviors and spoken words that are kind, assertive, trustworthy, and leads towards progressing. Minority are courageously vulnerable and need to be assertive and leaders in their own lives, which is already a struggle. It's sympathetic of the majority to respond with saying or behaving with the words the minority gave them. The idea is that once being said by minority, the act of speaking or behaving it by the majority is less meaningful. It's the platinum rule, it's about treating others the way they need to be treated. When I acknowledge the hurt and problems, labeling them, it's for the purpose of validating, empowering and encouraging myself and others. It's to deter, an excuse, accepting, and or perpetuating the pain, damage, destruction, and demoralization of the marginalized. It's the majority that marginalizes, the pushing to the side of, the minority and its transparentization of the disadvantage. People take up space and are opaque. To acknowledge, listen, believe and consider is empathy. Each person can teach us, and has a perspective. It adds to our intuition. To ignore that is to ignore a lesson in empowerment. The taking of turns of teaching and learning. The cognitive mindset of hope. SMART goals, I know where, Agency, I know I can. A holistic path, I know how. With intuition and creativity leads to innovative change. Intuition is about leaving space for uncertainty or unknowing to become, create, and decide an emerged solution. Creativity is the meaningful creation of expressing our source. Comparison is the feeling of shame of our expression and hinders our ability to create. Brene Brown said, comparison is the crush of conformity from one side and competition from the other. It's trying to simultaneously fit in and stand out. Competition is a win-loss, of fearing scarcity, over-under-consuming, self-reliance and individualism. What we need to stand for is sufficiency, the courage to ask for help when needing it, and that progress isn't more but moving forwards.